see. Patrick, I know that Patrick Sorfley is our is the town of Canmore planner, and you're going to go over a view of the process.
Yep. Hi everybody, my name's Patrick. I apologize for standing up in front of a mic, but that's the only way that you'll be able to see the screen. Process for this project has been, it's a fairly robust process, and I'm going to walk through that. There's, if you can't see the slide up here, there's copies of it stuck up on the wall all over the place. Effectively what we've tried to do is find a way to have discussions amongst community members and then have those discussions carry through to other communities. So you may have your gymnastics community, your basketball community, your quilting community who meet internally. So how do we facilitate discussions between those sort of separate user groups? So a little taller than you, Lori. What we're starting off with right now is the project meeting, and that's kickoff. That's right here. That's tonight. The kickoff meeting, what we're going to be doing is again, introducing the scope of the project. We're going to go over the toolkit, which you'll learn a heck of a lot more about later. And that toolkit is going to be the primary method for proposals for the space to be launched in the community. We'll be using those submissions to host on our blog, engagecanmore.ca, and that will be open for everybody in the community to comment on. So. Not discussions behind closed doors, discussions in the most open forum you can have. So once the projects or once the toolkit has been used by different groups or different individuals, those submissions will come in and those will go up onto the web. There are two other pieces of information that we'll be gathering at that time, throughout that time. One is targeted user group, targeted interviews. Targeted interviews with, so for example, we'll be going into the high school and some of the middle schools to interview different classes to identify what our kids see as gaps in the area, what they see as missing from the community. We'll also be interviewing our own facilities to see what they've learned from this existing space into how it could be better used in the future. A bunch of groups will be involved in that. Not user groups specifically, but broader groups than that. The other piece is community leader interviews. That's folks like the usual suspects that donate to help projects get off the ground. So the Lions Club, potentially folks like Lafarge, Rotary, even Canmore Museum, groups like that that have a different sense of what needs or gaps there are in the community. Again, we'll be using that to funnel into the process. After that, you'll see this big box. It's a big box right up here. All of this information gets posted on Engage Canmore, so all of it becomes available to you. So when we've gone into classrooms and chatted, the results of that working session will get posted. From each of the group submissions, individual submissions of I think this should be a bowling alley to I think it should be a gun range. It could be, I'm throwing ideas out there, but all of those ideas get funneled in. The discussion happens online, and we take that information and evaluate it with the Community Services Advisory Committee and look at it in terms of the gaps in the community, cost of the projects, how well the projects meet the needs to do that Lori just described, the terms that were set by council, so that it's flexible, multi-use, good for all ages, and complements our existing facilities. So that evaluation happens at that time. We then take our information and crunch the proposals down into a fewer number of more complete proposals. And that's perhaps each of the proposals that comes in will be entirely complete, used throughout the week, but they may not. So we'll try and break those down into coherent proposals for the use of the space, pop those back on the internet, have everybody comment on those, talk about them, how could they be improved, how could they be tweaked, and from there, take those ideas and come up with the recommended proposal for council. Again, all of this happens on an open forum at engagecanmore.ca. And then the recommended concept would be presented to council sometime next year. So, as I showed earlier, there's this big, most of this is happening from tonight onwards until this goes to council. Information is available online, and you are able to participate as much, and I would encourage you to participate as much as you can. So, the next bit, the important bit to consider is how can we reuse the old pool? Again, I've described the process. It's ideas generated by you. That's what we're trying to use to fuel this. There's the big online discussion, evaluation with costs, existing gaps, community benefits, and then the council criteria that have been put forward. So, fairly robust process, and it's all going to be hosted on engagecanmore.ca. So this is a screenshot of the website. It's been fairly optimized to access from your phone if you're out of town, so you can participate wherever you happen to be. The important pieces are each of the group submissions will go up there. Copies of the toolkit are available there. Information on the space is available there. You can sign up to the site and participate in the blog. Your first post has to be approved by me. That's just to make sure you're not a computer. But beyond that, once you've posted, you're able to post as much as you will. We just ask that you keep things respectful. This is how the posts work, and some of us are more tech savvy than others, so I'm going to go through how you'd actually participate. At the bottom of an article or someone else's comment, there's a button you can click that says leave a reply. You fill out your name, you fill out your email address, so you're telling us who you are. If you've got a website associated with your group or yourself, you can post that up. You got to do a little math question. Again, this is a test to make sure you're not a computer. And then from there, in this last box down here, you're going to write down what you actually want to say. And the last step, don't forget to do this, is click the post the comment button. If you don't do that, nothing happens. So that's the basic process for this discussion to happen, and it can happen over time. It can happen in a short period of time, and this is how we're going to be discussing the information that's submitted for the group proposals and other articles that are posted up on the blog. Should note that this blog won't just be used for the old pool project. It may be used for other projects of the town of Canmore. So if you're interested in other things, check it out as well. So that's the process. We've tried to put together a fairly robust process that has multiple opportunities for you to participate. And it's not if you miss one meeting, that's it. So this will be going on for many months, and I'd encourage you to participate as much as possible.
Patrick, thanks very much. And you put the picture up as a funnel. So it's a collection of ideas, and then you've got a process for those ideas sort of following through down to some recommendations that eventually will be brought forward towards council.
The question is whether or not what that private donor is proposing meets the tests of, is it flexible, is it multi-use, does it work for families and children, and does it complement what we have in Canmore? So even in that case, it gets run through the filter, it gets run through that evaluation.
Next question. Is the town hoping to use this space for generating revenue?
I'd like to redirect that to Laurie O'Brien.
Yeah, anything we do has to be sustainable, right? So you either have funders with deep pockets, you have sponsors who are willing to fund things and also get a benefit back, or we have users who want to pay fees. So yeah, anything we do has to be sustainable. The level of sustainability and level of taxation is why we have a local government, and we have councillors, and we have residents to voice those needs and concerns. So yeah, the financial piece is important to all of us, because we don't want our taxes going up. We want to see whatever we build be here for generations beyond us. So yes, funding is a very real concern, and it will be part of the criteria.
Okay. For the process, someone said, I don't see any timelines or deadlines to keep us on track and generate some momentum and enthusiasm.
In your toolkits, there is the first deadline, and that's going to be December 19th. Now, it is a little longer, but we figured that community groups might be able to meet once, maybe twice a month. So that'll give you 2, 3, maybe 4 meetings to discuss your proposal before submitting it. So that's on the toolkit itself. The timeline from there would go into, so we receive things on the 19th, stuff goes up on the web, all those go up on the web before the Christmas holidays. Conversations are happening through January into February, then the first level of evaluation occurs. From there, they get posted back on the web. And again, we're trying to give everybody opportunity to comment, so if you're away or if you were busy that week, it's not just a 1-week window. But in terms of time constraint, we're looking to have the end product to council before the summer.
Patrick.
Wait, what? Hey, Barbara. Just one clarification on that. I think, does the toolkit not say November 22nd now?
The toolkit online says November 22nd. I changed that today, and in setting up this room, I didn't have time to change it online. So that will be done tonight.
Okay, we'll be looking for it.
Yeah.
Patrick, will the town of Canmore have computers available if I don't have one?
Our intent is to have a computer available at the Civic Center. The other option is at the library. You can participate using the computers at the library as well. There may be opportunity to have a computer in the rec center. We just haven't sorted that out yet.
There's some curiosity around if there's a group with lots of members and they submit an idea, and maybe there's a group within the group that's sort of doing that work, and they submit their idea and they represent lots of people, and yet when people want to put online comments on, how is that understood? Sort of the relative sort of representation behind that group, whereas if it's an open kind of communication on the online, that someone else can't make 500 comments about one submission for the balance.
One of those, I'm going to address that in last bit first and first bit last. One of the ways to control the number of submissions from an individual is once things are posted, if it's berating, disrespectful, or repeating the same comment over and over and over again from the same individual, we can pull those comments from the web. That's possible, and we'll have your contact details so we can let you know why we've done it and move on from there. So that's to deal with the perception of numbers or that it's a vote. Now, some groups may represent more users than others. The future use of this facility is about needs, it's about gaps. If you represent a lot of people in the community, but your needs are entirely fulfilled, then when the evaluation is done to look at needs, gaps, and whatnot, that will be factored in. Yes, there's 500 users, but there's no gaps. If there are gaps that we've missed, that will also be part of the online discussion. So numbers do mean something, but they are certainly not the be-all and end-all in this process. The intent is to come up with a flexible, multi-use space, good for all ages, that complements our existing facilities.
Another question, Patrick. Will name and email ID be posted with comments?
So your name, just move forward to this, your name will be posted, your email will not. So your name could be Pool Rockstar 69, that's all right. Your email address, however, would not be posted. That's something we keep internally. If you want someone else to have access to your email, you can contact us directly at engagecanmore.ca or engage@canmore.ca, and we can act as an intermediary, but that's only done with explicit permission.
Okay, so that, yeah, and there was another question, which is, I think you've answered it. When comments are posted, will the identity of the individual be private?
Depending on what name you put down.
Will there be office space available once administration staff move to Elevation Place?
The map that, or the drawing that Lori showed you earlier, which is posted up on the walls, shows these areas here with the current offices as it might be in scope. So the answer is, there might be. You may propose to put offices in the existing pool space. That's a legitimate proposal. So we'll just have to see what comes forward. Sure.
I'm not sure if that question was asking, will there immediately be office space available? Is that what someone was asking, or?
It doesn't say immediately, just says, will there be office space available?
Okay.
But it means immediately.
It means immediately. Okay, so I was thinking maybe that's what it meant. So we are moving some staff currently who are in the Civic Center to some of these offices here. So our staff who look after arts and events are going to be moving to the Recreation Center. So there will be moving into some of these offices here. But we do have some vacated offices also on the second floor. And if anyone is interested in that space and permitting it from the town, you could talk to Muriel. Is Muriel still here? Muriel, raise your hand, wave, yay. So Muriel is the person to see if you'd like to rent space in town facilities, and she'd be happy to give you a tour of those spaces and to show you those spaces.
Okay, and the last question that I have here is the weight room part of the repurposing of space.
No, the weight room is not. As you can see on the drawing surrounding it, just to orient you, the black box at the bottom side of the page, and bounce back up here into Lori's presentation. So the black box at the bottom here, that's the staircase that goes upstairs to the gymnastics area. The black box in the middle is the front desk. Everything off page is not included in this process.
Did everybody who asked a question feel that they were rewarded with their pool pass? I just want to make sure I didn't overlook anybody.
Barbara, I believe we have another question.
And I'll ask this one in the interim. Thank you for reminding me. I missed it. Patrick, is it possible to post a list of interested users and ideas to help with creating individual proposals?
It is certainly possible to do that. Again, we would do that at an individual's request. Alternatively, we can facilitate that connection. If you say, I'm looking for someone in this group, we can try and find a connection for you. But we won't give out your information without your explicit approval.
Do shovels have to hit the ground, or could the space be used as it is or nearly?
I believe Lori addressed that question in part earlier. The space, once Elevation Place is operational and running smoothly, this will no longer be a heated pool. It will no longer be a pool. So in some sense, the space will be changing. Now, the offices and the foyer area may be available for interim uses, but the pool area itself is going to be decommissioned. And at that point, the safety question comes up again, as Lori addressed earlier.
And there's a suggestion that there may be a large group of potential users who may not be computer literate, but doesn't mean they don't have a lot of interest in something like an indoor walking or running track. So how would that need be accommodated?
In terms of the discussion, It's a little trickier to deal with, but our plan is to have people come into the Civic Center and give us a written, this is my comment, and we can post that for you. Equally, the toolkit and the toolkit submissions can be done on paper, and we can scan them in and post them as well. Unfortunately, the logistics of posting every single comment that gets put on the site is not realistic, so we can't print out a book of all of those, but we can facilitate or help you at the Civic Center front counter as well to do that.
And Patrick, what opportunity is there to participate for non-residents?
The opportunity is equal to everybody else. You put together a proposal, you submit that proposal, people comment on it. If just as an example, if someone lives in Yellowknife and has a brilliant idea for this space and that gains traction in the community and the community loves it, is that a bad thing? Probably not. So.
Okay, thank you very much. Great questions.